on to the 2024 Minnesota State Fair live from Carousel Park, presented by Mesh, Besher, and Spence. We'll be broadcasting live through Labor Day. Come buy your favorite fan merch. Learn about your shot to be the Mesh, Besher, and Spence Rube of the day. You could win a prize pack. Full details now, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Neal III, columnist for the Star Tribune. My man is Ballyhooed, card-carrying member of the Love Covenant, 9 to noon or 10 to 1 just for fun when it was PA and Dubé. And he's going to be here. He's here for the great NFC North Debate, which unfurls somewhere within the next 15 minutes. Lavelle representing his beloved Bears. The Sultan of Smug representing the Green Bay Packers. Main man Jason Hatch behind me representing the team to beat in the division. I'll represent the Vikings, but outside of that covenant first, the Minnesota Twins and the Atlanta Braves. All right, so they get up 9-1. Then we got that rain delay, and then they eventually they bring Freed back, and he looks pretty good for a while, enough to hold things down. They win on Monday. Mm-hmm. They beat him in extras last night. I think the final was 8-6, and now they got Chris Sale going today. So, how would you analyze the state of our favorite 9 with this the second consecutive National League team, Gibby's team? The Cardinals come in and they meatloaf us, take 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Right. And Atlanta has at least meatloaf and feels like it might be a sweep. What do you think?
First of all, thanks for having me here. Hello, everyone. Good seeing you out here at the
Lavelle Neal III, ladies and gentlemen. Applaud because he's ballyhooed.
Twins are in a tight spot right now because they're trying to forge their way through this playoff chase with a very inexperienced rotation.
Right.
You've got Pablo Lopez, Bailey Ober, and 3 kids. And then if one of the kids goes down, you're going to replace him with another kid, and then another kid after that.
And Ober got killed the other night.
Yeah, Bailey's been pitching very well. He was bound to have a clunker, and now it's his clunker. Hopefully that he's done with that for the rest of the regular season. A tough thing about this is that now when you need to extend winning streaks and stop losing streaks, you're asking the guy in David Fester, who hasn't been a major leaguer for 2 months yet. Mm-hmm. You're asking Zebby Matthews, who has barely been in the majors 2 weeks, to be that guy. That's asking a lot of them. Now, they're finding out a lot about these guys because they're in the heat of the battle here. This isn't like some September call-up where you just kind of cruise your way through. September, get some Major League meal money, and you go home for the offseason. They're trying to play in October.
Right. And
so these guys are challenged with that. The daily lineup hasn't been together. I find it remarkable that Buxton, Royce Lewis, and Carlos Correa have only played 17 games together this year. Buxton's coming back from the sore hip. Correa's foot was supposed to be getting better. It was recently, about 10 days ago, the Twins are telling me we're actually thinking about sending him on a rehab assignment in a couple of days and joining the team in Indianapolis, blah, blah, blah. But he's got that one spot of pain on his back heel when he runs in cleats. And that's been slowing him down. And they're trying to work out that last little spot. And then go start ramping up baseball activities. But it sounds like it's going to be another week for that to happen. So, it's not just when all those people are now on your roster, you're asking a lot. Matt Wallner, second year. Trevor Larnach has gotten playing time pieces of 3 years. You're asking a lot from those guys. And yesterday was actually, if the Twins could be bummed out over the recent run of losses, but they can comfort themselves realizing that they're throwing everything they got at these teams and they're battling. These games are close.
Right.
So there should not be a helplessness feeling because of these losses. They were down 4-0 to Atlanta. I'm sitting there in the press box going, the Braves just kicked the crap out of the Twins. It's like someone's hitting homers against this team all the time.
Yeah.
Bludgeon.
Ozuna and Olsen, just unbelievable.
Yeah. But then here goes Willie Castro with a 3 for 5. Here goes Warner with 2 doubles. Here goes Larnach with a big hit. They're not giving up. They're battling. They're still, despite all this mess that's gone on the last 6 weeks since the All-Star break, they're still 3 games back. And, Kansas City has got to be the story of the year.
How about that?
They just pulled into the tie for first place with Cleveland. So,
and their run differential for the Royals, they're plus 107. I mean, that's the best in the division.
Yeah. And they have the second toughest schedule in ball going forward.
Wow.
The rest of the year. So,
well, I mean, their 1-2-3 was Singer, Reagans, and Seth Lugo.
Seth Lugo's having a hell of a year.
And Lugo's on fire right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best 1-2-3 of all of those three teams, right?
And I was talking to Jeff Montgomery, who's with the World's Network, when they're in town, and he said, that's the thing with these guys in the rotation, and it's the flip side of what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
They stop losing streaks because we can come out and get a well-pitched game from one of our starters, cobble together some runs.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Wood Jr. does something great, and we win. So you can't worry about when you're going to get healthy. You got to throw your punches, and as long as the Twins keep throwing punches, most of the time they're going to come up on the positive side here. So I wouldn't feel fatalistic about this team just yet.
You in growing up. With Bad Leroy Brown on the south side of Chicago. You were at one point an elite Ron Karkovice, Bobby Thigpen, Greg Luzinski mind, right? Thad Bosley. I mean, some old school White Sox like wearing shorts in a doubleheader. I mean, you loved the White Sox, right?
Right. Well, when I was a kid playing softball in Chicago, and by the way, we played with a 16-inch softball, not needing a glove.
Really?
Yeah, it's a clincher. Yeah.
Wow.
Big boy baseball, softball, man.
I grew up bowling with something called duck pins and these little these little bowling balls that didn't even have holes in them.
Well, anyway, my buddy Lee Brown, he was kind of tall and lanky, so he pretended he was Ron Kittle, and I was short and dumpy, and I pretended I was Greg Luzinski. So,
well, the reason I bring up the Southsiders is they are 132 games into it. All right, so you got 31 left. And they've been eliminated from postseason contention. I mean, I can't remember seeing, looking at the standings and E for eliminated next to a team, and the calendar hasn't even turned to September. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a disaster there. It was going to be bad going in. They didn't know it was going to be biblically bad. They got a chance to set the record for the most losses in the regular season. The pitching's gone haywire. Their best pitcher doesn't want to pitch anymore because he's worried about overusing his arm, and he wants a contract extension at the same time. Garrett Crotchet.
Yeah.
And
he's tailed off a little bit, too.
Yes. And they're just worn down from the losses, man. You can just look like they're a beaten team. They beat themselves all the time. They still got too many, DH first base types they need to weed out. So they've done a terrible job of drafting and developing the last few years. It's all catching up with the White Sox right now.
Before we unfurl the great NFC North debate, Sultan of Smugs over there meeting the Lions representation, Jason Hatch. I mean, Jason is the biggest Lions fan that I know. When we were at Ford Field last year, there's my man on the sideline with a pass pregame. So he's he goes to Lions, he follows the Lions on the road and stuff like that. And, he's an elite Lions mind. We'll just see how he handles a microphone here about 5-7 minutes from now when it comes to talking trash with the Sultan and with LaBelle and yours truly.
Let's face it, though. How hard was it to get a sideline pass to the Lions 5 years ago? All right, he probably just got grandfathered in after the bit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you meet Matthew Stafford at some autograph thing, and you get grandfathered into sideline passes, even when Stafford's gone.
What the hell? You probably got ushered in by Matt Millen.
Okay, now before this gets dumb and we start clumping on each other and talking over each other, are you watching the Bears on Hard Knocks?
Yeah, I've watched the first. I haven't seen this week's episode yet, but
okay,
all the ones before that.
Yeah, all three, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's cool. It's cool. Some people are offended that they're not permitting cussing. Jalen Johnson at a press conference, nice corner where it's you weren't part of NFL Network or NFL.com's Top 100. Dropped an F-bomb. They cut it out. They didn't even bleep it. They just cut that part out. But I don't need that really to enjoy the cinematography. Would that be the right way to describe it? I mean, just the production of Hard Knocks is phenomenal, and it's obvious it's HBO. I mean, home box office is nothing but high end, But I didn't know a lot about Caleb Williams like Caleb Williams till I started watching this. I became an immediate fan when he, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and a couple others into the draft were like, yeah, I mean, we'd all like to play for Kevin O'Connell. Yeah, we all want to go to this team because he throws a lot and he gets the most out of his quarterbacks. I'm like, Caleb, hey, that's my man right there. But we knew he was going to the Bears. I caught him and watched back all of his snaps in the Buffalo preseason game. It's preseason, we understand. You can't look better in a preseason game than he did in that game. The way he was setting up defensive ends and then putting the pedal to the metal, causing like A.J. Epinesa and some other overrated guys to slip and fall, and just his cocksure nature. It's Mike Florio last week, I thought, said something really cool about this age of quarterback, including Caleb Williams. This is really the first age that grew up watching Patrick Mahomes. So it's like they kind of all want to play like Mahomes now, and I can see it with Caleb Williams. So he's going to be a handful this year. Now, I can't find the guy's name, and I was certain he would make the team. It's this backup defensive end who had like 3 sacks in the Bills game. It's Ahmad something.
He got cut.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I believe he got cut. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, and they featured him in one of these. He got cut?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he didn't. He's on the team, Austin Booker. Yeah,
Austin Booker, the 5th round draft pick.
He was 5th round? I thought he was 4th.
No, 5th. No,
bro, you hit on one.
He's been a real revelation.
I mean, this is not just from Hard Knocks. Like, I went and watched some of his snaps in the Bills game and the one before. I mean, you hit on one with this Austin Booker. I mean, he played football at Kansas. Who does he think he is, Dana Stubblefield? But seriously, he bookending Montez Sweat in certain packages. He's a handful.
And they still traded for a edge rusher from the Seattle Seahawks last week, Terrell Davis. I believe.
That Terrell Smith, the former Gopher?
No, he's a backup corner.
No, but Smith, he's gotten better, too.
Yeah.
Might be squared away this year.
I love the secondary. But here's a bit. The Bears right now, and we should talk about this, because these rosters aren't done. They're not done. Mm-hmm. The Bears have 6 defensive ends right now.
We have 2 running backs.
I saw that.
That's crazy. I know O'Connell likes to pass, and the passing game is good, and they like Darnold. We'll see it all play out. But 2 running backs?
Yeah. Well, hey, the Packers just have 1 running back, Josh Jacobs.
Right.
Because I don't recognize those 2 guys behind him on the depth chart.
Right. Well, all right. The necessary evil has arrived, so we might as well get into it around the corner. Nordo guides us through it for the majority of it. It's called the Great NFC North Debate. We do it yearly here at the State Fair with Bears, Packers, and Lions representation. Yours truly representing the purple and gold. We will unfurl the Great NFC North Debate when we return to FM 100.3 KFAN.
Man. Join Meat Sauce and Nordo Saturday, September 7th at St. Croix Casino Turtle Lake in the Book Sports Betting Lounge. Stop in from noon to 2. Get in on all the action while watching the games on their huge TVs, plus great food, craft beverages. KFAN.com keyword calendar for more details.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Great NFC North Debate will get underway shortly, but let's meet the constituents first from the south side of Chicago and representing the Chicago Bears, columnist for the Star Tribune. Ladies and gentlemen, wobble, wobble, Lavelle E. Neal III.
Bear down.
Bear down, Chicago Bears. Next to him, bowed out, and out, the Sultan of Smug, the host of Packer Preview each and every Sunday morning at FM 100.3, KFAN, co-host of In the Zone with Double T and Greg Popovich every single Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, David Sinekin.
Thank you.
And
back, baby.
Making his KFAN State Fair debut, a dear friend of mine, and he's hearing himself in headphones for the first time in his life, and it's freaking him out a little bit, which is good, because he's representing absolutely the team to beat in the division.
Okay.
So maybe if he comes up a little tepid, if he comes up a little timid, maybe it'll be metaphorical or a harbinger for the favorites to win the NFC North. But let's give him a warm welcome and a loud round of applause for helping us. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Jason Hatch, representing the Motor City Kitties.
Where's Common?
Go Lions, baby.
Kind of crowded in here.
Yeah, I didn't. He wasn't here yesterday, and I didn't know if it was going to linger to today. And plus, I mean,
Common's on the golf course.
Common likes
He's
the
at
Lions.
Prestwick. He's at
Common likes the
Prestwick.
Lions. My man right here is a devoted, dedicated Detroit Lions fan. And, before Nordo heads out to the stands here in about 5-7 minutes and executes the actual debate, did you hear the Sultan of Smug when I introduced the favorites to win the NFC North, your Detroit Lions?
I heard that.
And then I'm like,
You said overwhelming favorites.
right. And
That's why I
right.
reacted.
Well, overwhelming can be subjective in many ways, but they're the favorites to win the division. They won it last year. They should have gone to the Super Bowl last year, quite honestly, and messed things up late.
And they got better.
And they got better.
I hope they got better since Thanksgiving Day.
According to Jason, but
Packers beat us once in like the last 2 years, and okay.
Yeah, but see, he immediately, the Sultan of Smug, it's what he does. He
I
immediately
get it.
disrespected
Immediately.
Do you want to go through the
your
rivalry history
debut
here?
on KFAN. Give Jason another round of applause.
Why?
Let's let
Why?
him feel, because he needs to
Let's
feel
go.
warm.
He's got the favorite team. He's got a Super Bowl favorite. He doesn't need applause.
Yeah.
Say that one more time.
He's finally
Super Bowl favorite?
got a team to be proud of.
Right. So, Jason, why don't you just go ahead and argue with Cindy for a second so I can get caught up on Twitter?
Okay.
No, I mean right now.
How does it feel to be the favorite? You're not the hunters anymore. You're the
Yeah.
hunted.
It is uncharted territory, yeah. But again, best team in the division last year, best roster, top to bottom, best offensive line in the league, in my opinion. And we improved. I mean, DJ Reader coming in, he's one of the best nose tackles in the league.
How you sounding
Fortifies it.
in those headphones?
I think I sound good. What do you think?
No, that's the beauty. No, you sound great, but that's the beauty of it. It's like, we've heard it for years is, hey, I know more about sports than PA or Common or Corey or whomever. I could do that job, which maybe many of you could. A lot more goes into it. But then all of a sudden they put the headphones on and they start talking. And it's like, this is, whoa. Oh, wow. Hold on. Does this go up or down? Do I have to listen to this?
a question for Mr. Hatch.
What?
What do you got?
Mr. Hatch,
What's
are
up?
you the one who printed out the statistics to give to your coach to tell him to go for it on fourth down every GD time?
Oh! No, I'm not smart enough to dive into the analytics like that. But, I mean, if you look at those decisions, they're more often than not they were right. Execution-wise, different story.
Right.
Josh Reynolds catches 2 of those passes. We're in the Super Bowl.
He ain't on the
That's
team
not-
anymore, is he?
No, he's not.
Right.
And we can talk about that a little bit. I miss him already.
Ain't nobody wasting any time on
I
Josh
think
Reynolds.
I think WR3 is one of the only holes on the Detroit Lions.
You got Tim
And
Patrick now.
You have a
well,
sneaky guy
who?
in the roster.
Tim Patrick is going to be
Oh.
their ex.
Do we still have Equinemius St. L? Oh, no, wait, that was Cindy's team.
He got
He
cut
just
by
got
the
released
Saints.
by the Saints.
Oh, that's right.
He might be a future Lion.
He's
too.
with the
I don't know.
Bears last year.
Yeah, how are the Saints doing? They're relying on Equinemius St. L a few months after they actually signed Kellen Mond and believed that he had a chance to be a requisite quarterback on even a practice squad. How are the Saints doing? But anyway, continue arguing. No, I mean now.
Well, we have a secret weapon this year. I don't know if you've heard about it, but we have Greg Joseph as our kicker now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Not sure
Your secret weapon
not sure
is
you've heard
Malik
about it.
Willis.
see, we don't believe in field goals, so
No, that's a good point. And I should
Oh, hey.
check Twitter.
Oh, hey.
We may have a new kicker
don't
on
let-
our roster by now.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we don't let soccer players decide football games.
Polly Wally Martin is listening right now, and your friend is playing fast, Polly Wally. You're playing fast right now, just like your team, right?
Feeling it a little bit.
What
Let's go.
what'd you think of receiver? Which featured only the best receivers in the NFL, which would not include Dontavian Wicks, Christian
Jake
Watson,
Reed.
or Romeo Dobbs, or DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, or Roma Dunze. Yeah, it was Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson. What'd you think of receiver?
Only the elites.
Yeah.
I loved it. I already.
Amon-Ra's complicated, isn't he?
Yeah, what a cool story.
Yeah.
His upbringing was pretty wild, with his dad being Mr. Universe, but
Yeah.
worked out for him. Not as much for his 2 brothers. Maybe,
Interesting.
but,
They named him after one of the purported most evil Egyptian gods in the history of Egyptian mythology.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. And Equinemius, and then I think
Yeah.
is Osiris or something. Is his youngest brother?
Yep. Do you remember when your team hadn't won a game for a year and the fans had not seen a victory at Ford Field in about 2 years because of the pandemic? Until old Cam Dantzler rolled along, back left of the end zone, and Amon-Ra St. Brown basically got him kicked out of the Covenant. You remember that game?
Of course I remember that game.
Was that Dancer? What are you doing? Was that the play?
No, that was Seattle.
Okay.
No, this was, I don't remember what it was.
They can do anything.
I always keep track of them.
anything
No,
but
this was-
a touchdown.
No, this was the
Your
game.
boy plays like 6 yards deep in the end zone.
This was the game where after the game, outside of Ford Field, just harmlessly walking to the Vikings buses after an L to go to the airport and fly home. There was somebody with the Lions who I knew, and I was chatting with them, congratulating them. They hadn't won a game in a year, and their fans hadn't seen a win in 2 years. And a Vikings coach actually got mad at me for just barked at me a little bit. Like, well, what are you, a Lions fan? What do you want to call games for the Lions? I'm like, bro, have a heart. They hadn't won a game in a year, You're not that far removed from that, by the way.
No.
There's a lot of scar tissue. A lot of scar tissue.
A ton. My first year that I could afford NFL Sunday ticket was 2008.
Wow.
You know what happened in 2008?
0-16?
Yeah.
Wow. So you
At least you could watch other teams.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
Exactly. There's a lot of scar tissue.
Lavelle, you're sitting over there kind of laying in the weeds, quietly confident. Well, Caleb Williams is going to be the offensive rookie of the year. All right, so I'm just going to lay that out there now.
Thank you.
So you're just quietly confident over there about your squad, aren't you?
I just told myself I'm not going to talk over people this year. I'm just going to wait and let the game come to myself and play a little bit faster than I have.
I'm going to let the game come to me.
Yes.
Always. And your quarterback, Cindy, Jordan Love, after what Brian Flores did to Jordan Love at Lambeau Field should be felonious in 48 states. But fortunately for Jordan, he decided to start listening to Matt LaFleur after that game and following the plan perfectly, and he became a high-ender. Thanks in a large part, of course, to Aaron Jones.
Now he's got the bag.
Kind of carrying the team and everything. Now he's got the bag, as the kids say. And you were going to beat the Niners, until Jordan decided to do it his way and just roll out to the right and throw it to Dre Greenlaw, and then all of a sudden, there's your dagger.
He had made a mistake 1 week after a perfect passer rating in Dallas. All I know is only one team in this division has a top 5 MVP candidate.
Yeah.
It's my squad. So I'll roll with Jordan Love in year 2 with
Understood.
Young receivers growing up just a little bit, chip on the old shoulder.
Got it.
Had a lead in San Fran with a minute to go. Divisional round. Didn't see that coming in October, that's for sure.
Right. And there also is only one representative in this booth at the State Fair, speaking of top 5, who will have a top 5 draft pick next year, and it's not represented by Lavelle, Jason, or yours truly. Can I get a witness and a raucous round of applause? All right, great NFC North debates coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, featuring Wobble, the Sultan of Smug, and Jason Hatch. I'll represent the Vikings. Nordo is coming out to be with you to execute the great NFC North debate. It's a yearly staple, 9 to noon at the State Fair. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to 9 to noon. Welcome back to Carousel Park in the Minnesota State Fair. It is indeed time for the 2024 Great NFC North Debate. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us this morning, 9 to noon. Give a round of applause to these individuals up front in the booth. Let me reintroduce them for a momentarily. We'll get to the debate. We'll get to the questions. But first, representing the Chicago Bears, this man oozes Southside Chi-Town. He bathes in the aroma of cigar smoke and Portillo's beef while daydreaming of sweetness, Iron Mike, and the monsters of the Midway. You can hear him at Allery's talking loudly about his favorite Jay Cutler games, and he'll be quick to tell you that the Soulja Boy ringtone on his phone means it's time for Devin Hester to go to work.
Yeah.
He has Peanut Tillman's autograph tattooed on his lower back and considers the Super Bowl Shuffle a form of foreplay. You can find his book at Barnes & Noble and on the back of basement toilets everywhere. It's Lavelle Neal III, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, and for these great introductions, mad producer Nordo in the crowd with you. How about a round of applause for that? Get on up there, big boy.
Well done.
Representing the Green Bay Packers to this day, he owns an Anthony Barr voodoo doll because of Aaron's collarbone in 2017. He swears that David Bakhtiari never started early. He thinks A.J. Hawk, quote, adds a lot of personality on the McAfee show. Despite a historically good wide receiver class in 2020, he claims he always believed Jordan Love was the right selection. He'll make jokes about the Vikings taking on Packers cast-offs like Aaron Jones or Greg Jennings. But he's just mad because the Packers signed people like LaTroy Guion and Greg Joseph. And like most Packer fans, he avoids going to the Miracle of Birth building because he hates family reunions. Host of In the Zone Packer Preview, it's Dave Sinekin.
Hey, the head cheese, Sultan of Smugville.
Now representing the Detroit Lions, it's Jason Hatch.
The family reunion line. Can I get a witness in a raucous round of applause? I mean, that was well orchestrated.
I'll admit, I just met Jason today, ladies and gentlemen. I can't rag on this guy. I don't even know the guy. We should all be friends with this guy. He's loved a team that gave Matt Millen a GM job. He loved a team that had Barry Sanders and couldn't win, a team that had Stafford to Megatron and couldn't win, a team that went 0-16 and taught the common man how to count, a team that saw Dan Orlovsky running out the back of the end zone, and a team that put long snapper Don Muehlbach on their all-time team because of a lack of options. His loyalty is true. The paper bag is off the head, and he's been paid off. They are the division favorites. Jason Hatch representing the Lions, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hey to Polywale.
And finally, representing the Minnesota Vikings, most people count sheep. He counts Helga horns. He's developed great relationships with the organization over 20-plus years, but was once chastised for trying to tickle Brad Childress. He also got off on the wrong foot with Mike Zimmer in 2014 after asking him, are you a puppy or are you a baby? He has to pretend Aaron Jones is a rookie because it's emotionally torturous to think about where he came from. He believes Jalen Naylor will have a tremendous season because he's really built up his body in the offseason. He practices his boom call every morning before leaving for the radio station and doesn't care that everyone else in line at Caribou is mildly startled by it. He thinks Kwesi's the next Ozzie Newsome, O'Connell the next Bill Walsh, and Sam Darnold a cross between Marino and Carrot Top. He just really likes Carrot Top's comedy. And he even lended his personal Whizzinator to Ontario Smith to beat drug tests. In 2005, it's the voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen.
He is I and I is he, slim with the tilted brim and the Whizzinator.
So simple enough, gentlemen. I'm going to start with Lavelle Neal III. I'm going to ask each of you questions about your favorite teams. You will have roughly...
Yeah.
What?
I should go first. It'd probably be reflected in the...
Wait, what happened to you working 24 hours on not stepping on people and talking over people?
Well, I've been shut down here, so I got to speak up for myself.
You'll each receive questions, and you have roughly 1 minute to answer them. And at the end, both of you will plead your final case as to why you will be supreme in the NFC North. And we shall start with the candidate from the south side of Chicago, Lavelle Neal III. The offense has the most offensive weapons on paper since when, Lavelle?
Try ever. Sid Luckman to Johnny Morris. I mean, that was our best combination. No, it's fantastic. It's an exciting group of guys here because you've got DJ Moore, you got Keenan Allen, who are quality, legitimate, high performance wide receivers. Rome Odunze gets a break in as a rookie. The tight end room's hilarious because you've got Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, and Mercedes Lewis in his 19th year in the NFL. You got DeAndre Swift, who's making $8 million a year to solidify that backfield with Khalil Herbert as a backup now. The amount of offensive talent the Bears have added this year is startling, and the offense is going to transform because Luke Bleeping Getsy is no longer the offensive coordinator. We have Shane Waldron from the Seattle Seahawks. I am expecting big things from the offense this year.
Hey, Nords, did you notice he didn't mention any facet of the offensive line?
I noticed he did not mention that.
There we are.
Coleman Shelton, though. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
To the Green Bay Packers, Dave Sinekin. What's better about Josh Jacobs and Marshawn Lloyd versus Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon a year ago? You have 1 minute.
Well, Josh Jacobs is a year removed from being the leading rusher in the NFL. He was on a diseased Raiders team that had no quarterback, no line, nothing beyond Devontae Adams last year. So we'll throw last year out. He's 3 years younger than Aaron Jones. I'm a longtime Aaron Jones lover. I'm not trashing number 33. I love everything about the guy. Not the most dependable. You can't rely on him for 17 games. You can't rely on him to hang on to the football in key moments.
We ain't talking about Aaron Jones. We're talking about your team, damn it.
He asked why I like my new running back better.
Okay.
All right. Jacobs at 26 can handle the heavy load. And Marshawn Lloyd, he's been banged up in the preseason, but, man, he's electric. I know Dan Jeremiah called him.
That's enough time from the Green Bay
I
representative.
think they signed Marshawn Lloyd because the GM thought it was Marshawn Lynch.
Silence you hear is Lambeau Field.
Oh, Jackson.
To the Detroit Lions in Ford Field, checking in, Lions correspondent Jason Hatch. We shall start here. Is Dan Campbell becoming one of the better, if not one of the best coaches in the NFL? Why?
Sorry.
Well, the answer is absolutely yes. If you look at what he took over and the lack of, completely void of talent, the roster was despicable. Him and Brad Holmes have partnered together and built up what is now the best roster in this division. If you look at the way he coaches, his attitude, and his aggressiveness, people want to play for that. And if you watched Hard Knocks a few years ago, you can see it. So people want to play for him. People want to play hard for him. And he's built a great roster. Yes.
And this fourth down playbook is 500 pages long.
Wow.
Better believe it.
My man kept that under a minute, and he played really fast and confidently on the microphone, just like his football team on the field.
Come on.
A natural. To the Minnesota Vikings, PA, where have the Vikings improved their position depth the most from a year ago?
We can move on to the next question now. That was quick.
Hey, you shut up. It's not your turn, okay? The answer would be running back, okay? The running game had an impotent nature to it last year. Good luck to Alexander Madison with the Las Vegas Raiders. Good luck to Kene Nwanwu wherever he finishes. But not only did we upgrade at running back with Aaron Jones, this now is the 19th Packers fan I've heard lament and basically cry into a microphone how much they miss Aaron Jones.
I'm glad you got him.
I mean, did we get a cross between Eric Dickerson and Marcus Allen here? Holy cow. All I know is the last time I talked to Aaron Jones, I had a microphone in front of me, and regarding playing the Green Bay Packers, listen closely, he had this to say.
How come he gets to use the board?
Bruh, you 3-2.
And I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
Can I get a witness and a raucous round of applause for that vengeance quote from Aaron Jones?
3.9 yards a carry last year.
You want to get your own. I don't ask you how come I can't get my lead LEDE with the Star Tribune. That's why you don't get your button bar. Okay.
You better hope he's still healthy.
Chicago Mia. Yeah, we'll see.
Here's another opportunity.
He was awfully healthy at the end of last season when he carried your team to playoff immortality, not the quarterback, the running back.
18 touchdowns, 1 pick. That quarterback was trash.
How'd he do in that Flores game? Anyway, continue.
Back to the Chicago Bears. What does an exceeds expectations season look like from Caleb?
Well, first of all, he's not the worst quarterback in the division. That would be Sam Darnold. So he's got that going for him. Okay. It doesn't considering the Bears' history of quarterbacking. They never had a 4,000 yard passer. Even if he gets in the mid 3,000s, that's a successful season for me. I'm slightly nervous about him being thrown into the fire right away. But when you see the talent and the skills and the ability, you see why he was the first overall draft pick. And I'm looking forward to being entertained by this man who has weapons all over the field to give the ball to.
But he's a liar. And here's why he's a liar. Because you can't say he's not the worst quarterback in the division until he plays games. Okay? Because Darnold was a third overall pick, ballyhooed like Caleb in 2018, and it didn't work out. It ain't a cinch it works out for Caleb. It probably will. But until proven otherwise, he's the worst quarterback in the division.
I'm standing in the Vegas casino, all right?
Yeah, you like that one, Cindy?
That's great.
Thank you.
I'm seeing the future in the Vegas casino.
Yeah,
I'm doubling down on Caleb.
Yeah, well, funny, when I used to go to Vegas with you and play baseball parlays, you didn't see the future clearly then, and it stuck me a dime.
No, that was Dubé and Johan Santana.
That's a good point. Yeah, against Cleveland was the worst ever.
To the Green Bay Packers, a similar quarterback conversation here. Why will Jordan Love not regress in 2024?
Well, he certainly didn't regress as the season went on last year. He's got a young group of receivers that were basically all rookies last year, figuring things out. They now have spent an offseason with him. They understand what it means to be NFL players. 4 deep at wide receiver. Can't even pick a number 1. 2 tight ends they like. An offensive line that's improved.
Come on.
And he understands the offense even better. He's going to have more freedom at the line of scrimmage to mix things up a little bit. Look, as I said, he's a top 5 MVP pick for a reason. He's not regressing. He's got talent all around him and a better running game. And, I think he'll be in the MVP.
That's enough time. On to the Lions.
And by the way, he's right about Jordan Love. He's top 5 MVP selection in betting circles at like 14 or 15 to 1. State Fair, I mean, the man with multiple jobs clearly is not averse to supplemental income. Anybody who wants to run Jordan Love MVP money through anybody, run it through me right here. And I'll even give you 16 to 1 because he ain't winning MVP.
Colin Coward picked him, so he'll give you some of his money.
Yeah, that's why he's with FS1 and it takes 5 hours to find his channel.
To the Lions, Jason, one of the worst pass defenses a year ago, that Lions pack. How does your team get better in that area?
Well, they addressed it in the offseason, obviously with the draft. Terry and Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw are both, I think, potential starters. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the nickel. Brian Branch is going to kind of float around there, probably move to safety a little bit, but then trading for Carlton Davis. You've got now 3 better corners than you had compared to their best corner from last year, which was Cam Sutton. So that, along with the pass rush, which is going to be improved as well, which helps the passing game on the defensive side, I don't see how they don't improve.
To the Minnesota Vikings, PA.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, you weren't happy with Stephon Gilmore in that Indy game. What makes you happy about him being here now?
Well, what I like about the addition of Gilmore, and by the way, I mean, on the team or not, you can stop trying to decapitate Justin Jefferson during games. Okay? So that's going to draw a reaction from your emotional announcer, and we have no regrets. And there's no reason to dwell on it. Now, the Vikings came into last season. Their top 2 corners, let's say 3, Caleb Evans and Byron Murphy Jr., let's put Mekhi Blackmon in it, who played a lot. They had a combined 61 games of NFL experience. This year, you take Stephon Gilmore with Byron Murphy Jr., Shaq Griffin, and let's add Fabian Moreau. That's 441 games of experience.
And 2 rocking chairs.
And a Super Bowl ring with Stephon Gilmore. Flores knows what he's doing. Just ask Jordan Love and how that thing worked out at Lambeau Field last year when he basically had to get on the teat of his favorite cow just to stimulate and ease the pain.
I could have caught passes in that game at U.S. Bank Stadium.
Yeah.
Your defense was a rumor in that game.
Understandable.
It was unbelievable.
As was our quarterback, Jaron Hall. That's why he got pulled at halftime.
One more round of questions, one for each of you, and then you'll make your final case in the great NFC North debate.
Yep.
Back to you, Wobble Wobble. Your offensive line had Cody Whitehair, Lucas Patrick last year. Enter a healthy Tevin Jenkins and center Coleman Shelton. What's better about Chicago's version of the moving company?
That is one area I'm slightly concerned about, the interior offensive line.
Slightly.
Tevin Jenkins and Nate Davis are good players when they're healthy, and being available has been an issue, and it's irritated the coaching staff a little bit, especially in Nate Davis's situation. Ryan Bates is a player they salivated over for the last 3 or 4 years. They tried to sign him before he signed with Buffalo a few years ago, and finally traded for him this offseason. He's got a shoulder issue. So when Tevin Jenkins, Davis, and Bates are together, it's a very good offensive line.
To the Green Bay Packers, Dave Sinekin, which defensive player of yours are you most bullish on, and why?
The X-Man, Xavier McKinney, free agent signing out of the Giants, top 5 safety in the league. That was a black hole for our defense last year. Our safety room is much improved with the quarterback of the defense now, Xavier McKinney, who's going to take this new Jeff Hafley defense, which is aggressive. It's get after the quarterback. It allows Jair Alexander to go after Amon-Ra, JJ, whoever the number 1 Bears guy is. But Xavier McKinney's going to lock up that defense,
sir,
and really make this defense hum. I'm very excited about the defense, and the X-Man's the reason.
All right, you're not paying attention, Lavelle. He was talking about Bears receivers, and Jalen Johnson does not play receiver.
Sorry, DJ Moore?
And you know what? With Xavier McKinney, I mean, he's going to need every bit of that, because what Justin Jefferson has done to Eric Stokes every time they've met all the way back to college, again, should be a felony in 48 states. Stokes wants nothing to do with Jefferson, and you will see it again in a month and change.
Jair will take care of him. Don't worry.
To the Detroit Lions, Jason, is there any reason we should not hate Kirby Joseph for destroying T.J. Hawkinson's knee last year?
ILL.
Yeah, hate him. Hate one of your players, man.
You can hate whoever you want, I guess.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I don't love that play, but the way that the NFL is now, where you can't hit high.
Can't hit high. Plenty of players smoke pot. I don't think they test for it except for once a year.
You want a 190-pound guy hitting a 260-pound guy. He's going to go low. It sucks that TJ got hurt. You never want to see that, but
see, Lions fans are even classy. How can you not love Lions fans?
Yeah,
My goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kirby Joseph never played like that at Illinois.
Final one for you, PA. Kirk Cousins had 4,500 yards in 2022. He was on pace for nearly 5,000 before the Achilles last year. Will Sam Darnold eclipse 4,000? Let me set the floor at 4,000 passing yards for Sam Darnold. Your thoughts?
No, but J.J. McCarthy will when the meniscus miraculously heals and he returns middle of the season. He's J.J. McCarthy. I don't know about Darnold. Darnold, I like him, and I got to see it. You know, I'm not one of the low-hanging fruit dwellers who's like, he sucked with Carolina, or he wasn't great with the Jets. But those are games that count. So I need to see it. You need to see it. The A topic for the Minnesota Vikings is the performance of Sam Darnold, and a lot of it starts and stops there. But you know what? I mean, in what would be to some a shocking revelation, I don't pick the Vikings to win the division. I think Jason's team absolutely is going to win the division.
Yes, sir.
But that's fine, because this is going to be a rolling ball of butcher knives by the end of the season. The Vikings will make the playoffs. They'll make it as a wild card, and the league better be on alert right now.
You mispronounced Bears.
Because when that team gets hot, there's going to be hell to pay, ladies and gentlemen. We just may have to wait for a second.
You know what they say, the seventh year is the charm for Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and you know what they also say is even though there aren't dispensaries in Minnesota, Packers fans seem to find the right type of ingredients behind those trees. Yeah, that was terrible, but I tried.
As we wrap up the debate, now it's your turn here in the Messbesher and Spence stands to root for who you believe made the best case for being supreme in the North in 2024. We'll start with Lavelli Neal III and the Chicago Bears by round of applause. You believe in Wobble's Bears, ladies and gentlemen.
Fall down, Chicago be up. They ain't winning the division. Might make the playoffs. Honestly, I think the Bears are going to have 6, 7, or 8 wins through like 8, 9, or 10 games.
You mispronounced Vikings.
They're going to start fast.
They're going to start fast, man. Your team's going to start fast.
I agree.
What about the nasty neighbors to the east, ladies and gentlemen? The Green Bay Packers and Dave Sinekin.
They ain't winning the division.
Okay. Because Jason always wins, right?
Jason Hatch and the division odds leading Detroit Lions.
Ooh.
Come on.
I think we got more Packer reaction than Lion reaction.
And how about our guy 9 to noon, PA, and the Minnesota Vikings? Let's be that bowling ball. Let's go.
Skull.
Okay.
For sure. I think the Lions have a great chance to go to the Super Bowl. I'm just going to be straight and honest with you. I loved them into last year. And even the year before, you know, they got a good squad. But everything is beatable in the National Football League. All right, with injuries, timing of games, and the whole thing. We played the Lions tougher last year than I thought we would, given some of the players we had on the roster when we caught them specifically late in the season. So chip, chair, and chance, Minnesota Vikings fans. In Sam Darnold, we need to trust, but I'm telling you this right now. And mock me and ridicule me and tear me up next year at the great NFC North Debate, assuming we're all here. The Vikings defense is going to be so much better than people know right now, and it's going to catapult things, and we just can't see it unless you're part of the by faith covenant, which we are, and Jason is too. So we'll play the game, see what happens.
That concludes the great NFC North Debate 2024 edition. Give Jason a round of applause, by the way. Stepping onto a microphone, loves his team, handled business in front of a crowd. Thank you to Lavelle, Dave Sinekin as well. Host of 9 to Noon PA in the Mix takes it from here.
And a round of applause for Nordo, Matt, producer, putting together that wonderful bit. All right, Bob Motzko, coach of the Golden Gophers hockey team. He's undoubtedly looming because he's very responsible and on time. So we're going to mix it up with one of my very favorites, Coach Motzko, around the corner from the State Fair at KFAN.